Here's a saying: divorce is like an amputation. You survive, but there's less of you. It's a poignant reminder of the emotional toll divorce can take. Hello there, friends. It's your buddy Saeed Rasalat here, and I've got something really compelling to share with you. In this video, I'm diving into a topic that hits close to home for many of us: divorce. But this isn't just any discussion. It's a real, raw look at the reasons behind divorce and the emotional journey that comes with it. Whether you're going through a divorce yourself, know someone who is, or just want to understand more about this challenging life event, this video is for you. I'll be sharing personal stories, insights, and maybe even a few laughs along the way. So, grab a cuppa, get comfy, and join me for a chat that's sure to resonate. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Hey everyone, today I've got a topic that's as real as it gets. Divorce. Yup, we're diving into the nitty-gritty of what leads to those conversations and the roller coaster of emotions that come with it. From the initial cracks in the relationship to the final decision to part ways, we're covering it all. But hey, this isn't a pity party. It's a chance to understand, relate, and maybe even find a bit of humor in the chaos. So, if you've ever wondered what really goes on behind closed doors or just want some real talk about love and loss, this video is your golden ticket. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Part 1. The slow burn. You know how they say, death by 1,000 cuts? Well, that's kinda how it felt. It wasn't one big thing that made me call it quits. It was a million little paper cuts that just kept piling up. It all started after I had our daughter. I mean, I get it, pregnancy changes your body, but I never expected my husband to just stop being affectionate. No more hugs, no more kisses, nothing. I blamed myself, thinking maybe I wasn't as attractive anymore. Then there were the late nights. He started coming home later and later from night school, always with some excuse about group projects or study sessions. But then I started noticing that he was spending more time with his female classmates than with me. He'd stay out till 3 a.m., and when he finally came home, he'd be too tired to even say hello. One day, I couldn't take it anymore. I confronted him about it, and that's when he dropped the bombshell. He had started driving for Lyft to make some extra cash. Okay, cool, except he was coming home at 5 a.m. I mean, who works that late? And the worst part, I never knew if he was actually working or if he was using Lyft as an excuse to hang out with other women. Our fights became more frequent and more heated. He would threaten to move out, to leave me and our daughter alone. That's when I knew I had to take matters into my own hands. My father had recently passed away, and a good chunk of the money in our joint account was from his estate. I was terrified that my husband would try to take that money, so I moved it. I opened a new account in just my name and transferred everything over, my inheritance and half of what we had saved together. When he found out, he was furious. He felt entitled to that money, even my inheritance. But I stood my ground. I told him that I was tired of being taken for granted, tired of being treated like I didn't matter. And that's when he dropped another bombshell. He wanted his mother to come live with him. In our home, with her 2-year-old grandson. You'll have to accept it if you want us to reconcile, he said. Can you believe that? As if I'm the one who should be making all the sacrifices. As if I haven't already given everything I had to this relationship. So, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm getting a divorce, because I deserve better. We all deserve better, and I'm not going to settle for anything less. Part 2. The money game. Money makes the world go round, right? Well, it also makes divorce a whole lot messier. When my husband and I started having serious issues, the financial side of things became a battleground. It all started with our joint bank account. After my father passed away, I inherited a significant sum of money. I was scared that my husband would try to take it, so I decided to move it to a new account in just my name. I also transferred half of what we had saved together. When my husband found out, he was livid. "You can't just take that money," he said. "It's ours, not just yours." But I stood my ground. I told him that I needed to protect my inheritance and my share of our savings. I mean, what if he decided to leave and take everything with him? What would I be left with? That's when things got really messy. My husband got his own apartment and started petitioning for his mother to come live with him in our home. He argued that if we were to reconcile, I would have to accept his mother living with us at least 6 months out of the year. Can you believe that? As if I should just welcome his mother into my home after everything that's happened? But it's not just about the money, it's about the principle of the matter. My husband felt entitled to everything we had, even my inheritance. And that's when I realized that this wasn't just about our relationship falling apart, it was about my sense of self-worth. I paid for our wedding myself, but after 8 years of marriage, he never once thought to buy me an engagement ring. It's not about the ring itself, it's about the thought behind it. It's about feeling valued and appreciated in a relationship. And I realized that I wasn't feeling any of those things. So, I made the difficult decision to end our marriage. I deserve to be with someone who values me for who I am, not just for what I can provide financially. And while the road ahead may be tough, I know that I'm making the right choice for myself and for my daughter. Part 3. In-laws and outcomes. Now, let's talk about the unexpected curveball that came my way during this whole divorce saga. My husband's mother. After we separated, my husband decided to bring his mother from Jamaica to live with him in his new apartment. And guess what? She brought her 2-year-old grandson along with her. At first, I was shocked. I mean, who moves in with their son after he's separated from his wife? But then I realized that this was just another tactic to guilt-trip me into reconciling with my husband. He needs his family around him, my husband would say. He needs his grandmother's love. But what about me? What about my needs and my feelings? Did anyone stop to think about how all of this was affecting me? I tried to reason with my husband, to explain to him that bringing his mother into the picture was only making things more complicated. But he wouldn't listen. He was adamant that if we were to get back together, I would have to accept his mother living with us for at least 6 months out of the year. As if that wasn't enough, I started noticing a pattern in my husband's behavior. He would often use his mother as a way to manipulate me, to guilt-trip me into doing what he wanted. "If you really cared about me, you would accept my mother," he would say. "You would want what's best for our family." But what about what's best for me? What about my happiness and my well-being? Did anyone stop to think about that? In the end, I realized that I couldn't continue living this way. I couldn't continue sacrificing my own happiness for the sake of a relationship that was clearly toxic. So, I made the difficult decision to end things once and for all. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I do know one thing. I deserve to be with someone who respects me, who values me, and who puts my needs above their own, and I won't settle for anything less. Part 4. Baggage and blame games. You know how they say, past is past. Well, my husband never got that memo. Throughout our marriage, he would constantly bring up things from my past, things that happened before we were even together, and use them against me. "If you had just been more honest with me from the beginning, maybe we wouldn't be in this mess," he would say. But what does my past have to do with our present? Why was he so fixated on things that had nothing to do with him? And then there was the jealousy. My husband was incredibly jealous and possessive, always wanting to know where I was, who I was with, and what I was doing. He would go through my text messages, read all of my old messages on social media accounts, and try to use them against me. "I just want to make sure you're being faithful to me," he would say. But his actions spoke louder than his words. He was the one staying out late, coming home at odd hours, and spending more time with other women than with me. And yet, he had the audacity to accuse me of being unfaithful. It all came to a head when I realized that my husband was oblivious to the pain he was causing me. He couldn't see past his own insecurities and baggage to see how his actions were affecting me. I was spending more time being hurt and angry than I was happy, and that's when I knew that something had to change. I tried to talk to him, to make him understand how I was feeling, but it was like talking to a brick wall. He was so wrapped up in his own world that he couldn't see how his behavior was driving us apart. And then there was the engagement ring, or lack thereof. I paid for our wedding myself, but after 8 years of marriage, he never once thought to buy me an engagement ring. It wasn't about the ring itself, it was about what it symbolized. It was about feeling valued and appreciated in a relationship, something that I had been sorely lacking. So, I made the difficult decision to end our marriage. I realized that I deserved better, that I deserved to be with someone who loved and respected me for who I am. And while the road ahead may be uncertain, I know that I'm making the right choice for myself and for my daughter. And there you have it, folks. The raw, real story of why I decided to end my marriage. It wasn't easy, and it certainly wasn't a decision I took lightly. But in the end, I had to prioritize my own happiness and well-being. Divorce is never easy, but sometimes it's necessary. It's about recognizing when a relationship has run its course and having the courage to walk away. I know that the road ahead won't be easy, but I also know that I deserve to be with someone who loves and respects me. So here's to new beginnings, to second chances, and to finding happiness wherever life may take us. Cheers to the future, whatever it may hold. Thank you and have a nice day.